Welcome back again. This is Scott Schrum with the Schrum Agency and Farmers Insurance of Ephrata with another installment. And today we're going to talk about profit and loss, and it's all about net, not gross. That's one of my great managers said to me one time. Scott, it's not gross, it's net. So let's first start off about profit and loss. So after a couple months into your business, you really need to do a profit and loss statement because now you've had money going out, you've had money coming in. Are you making money? I mean, you see money coming in and the check account's not growing, it's shrinking. Like, what's going on here? So that's why we need to do a profit and loss statement. So going back to the beginning, you can use Excel or something. That's one of my favorite ones. Your expenses are going to be really high because you're spending a lot of one-time expenses. So for example, if you're opening a restaurant, maybe you're buying equipment, glasses, tablecloths, pots and pans, stuff like that. Hopefully, you got to replace those every once in a while, but not for like 5 or 10 years. So you're going to have a lot of one-time expenses, or we're going to call those variable expenses. So things I'll see in there for me was furniture, technology, buying computers, stuff like that. That's going to come into a lot of the variable one-time expenses. So over time, these expenses will start to go down because I don't have to keep purchasing the furniture and technology all the time. But I am going to have some fixed expenses that I can continue as long as I have my business. What's that? Rent. Always going to have rent. Insurance. Yeah, we're always going to have to pay insurance for the building or things like that. What are some other fixed expenses that you can think of? Utilities. Now, yes, utilities vary a little bit, but you're going to have to pay them every month, and you kind of know what they're going to be every month. Like my electric bill is always between $78 and $85 almost every month. We're gonna talk a little bit more about these expenses later. So eventually, hey, your expenses are going to go down and almost have a flat line. Now, hopefully, your profit is going up. But will your profit flatline or keep going up? Well, eventually, it's going to flatline. Why? Because your expenses flatline. So eventually, you have to spend more money to make more money. So when your profits start to flatline, look at your expenses. They flatlined as well too. Hopefully, if the profit's above, you're doing a good job. If the profit was below and it flatlined, get out of business. Sell. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to spend money to make money, right? At this point, when you're flatlined, you got to start increasing your expenses a little bit. Now, hopefully, this type of growth is going to go like that compared to your expenses at a much higher rate. But that's what you got to do. Now, I was looking at my business, and I was looking at all the fixed expenses and variable expenses and things like that. And when we want to see where are we spending all our money, because when it comes time to either spend more money or cut money, where's all my money going? So I'm going to give you the percentages of where it's going. So some fixed expenses, obviously rent, insurance, utilities. I'm going to call those all office expenses, stuff like that. I'm going to call this furniture. That was one time. What's kind of an office expense? So let's just say on all this stuff, we are probably, this is about 14% for us. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Let's talk about variable expenses. So this is going to be thrown in here. So these are kind of like one time, so I'm not going to consider these right now. Well, let's talk about staff. All right, and that includes their taxes as well. Other things could be advertising. Hey, how about your salary? Is that fixed, or do you switch it every month? You should make it a fixed expense. Let's say owner salary. You should take the same amount home every month, no matter how well you do. And at the end of the year, decide, hey, do I want to reinvest that and make even more money, or do I want to take it in pocket? Probably a little bit of both. What about supplies? Stamps, things like that. Toner. Oh, toner kills me, having to pay for that. I'm always going to have miscellaneous. And insurance, I'm in insurance for the business. We also do have, how about maybe health insurance? I'm going to put in here. It's actually a big expense for us. That's why I'm sticking in here. All right, so it's kind of most of the stuff. I have automobile expenses. So basically, after you get all your categories, you're going to add up all the total amount for all, divide it, and you get your percentage. So, and hopefully when you do it all, it comes out to be 100%. I'll be close here with my percentage. So my salary, probably about 7%. Health insurance, oh, this is the killer, right? Right now, this is about 16% of our cost. Staff, this should be your largest expense because staff makes the money, right? So, right, they say it should probably be about 40%. I'm actually a little bit under. I don't know if that's good or bad. About 27%. Automobile expenses, that's gas, taxes, registration fees, maintenance, oil, stuff like that. 6% because we use our car for business, right? A lot of times. If you don't use your car for business, it should not be on this list. That's a personal expense. Marketing and advertising. I spend about 12% here. We're in growth mode. Once you're not growing that significantly, yeah, you can cut some of this stuff back. Supplies, about 5%. Miscellaneous. This is everything else I kind of didn't, like maybe didn't fit into the category. Now I'm not sure this adds up to 100%, but it should be pretty close to 100% when you have all your categories. So if I'm looking, hey, what are my biggest expenses? Number one, staff's my biggest expense, and it should be my biggest expense. Number two, what is actually my biggest expense? I was surprised that I found health insurance to be my second biggest expense. What can I do to cut the cost? I don't know, maybe pick out a different plan, something like that. Third down the road, these. I can't do anything about this. You know, maybe I put this under fixed, but maybe I can get a different plan and do something, but this I'm stuck with. What can I change down here? I can decrease advertising. I'm kind of in growth mode right now. I don't want to do that. So I can maybe decrease how much I use my car or what kind of car, stuff like that. But this, you want to know two things. One, am I making money? What's my profit versus my expenses? It's about net, not gross. Doesn't matter if I'm all the way up, I'm all the way up here, pulling in 50,000 and my expenses are 60. I'm losing money. That's the first thing. Second, hey, what percentage of my money goes to what? This will give you a real good analyst of how your business is running. Number one should always be your staff. This should always be your number one expense. If this is not number one expense on your Excel spreadsheet, you're doing something wrong. Number two, hey, kind of up in the air for everybody. I was hoping my number two expense would be advertising, and it actually wasn't. My number two was health insurance. Number three was my fixed expenses, my office expenses. And number four was advertising. So eventually, I'd like this one, they'd be a little bit higher, and these two will be a little bit harder. It's much harder to get a fixed expense lower. These ones I can work with much more easily. So thank you for tuning in. This is Scott Shrum with the Shrum Agency and Farmers Insurance of Ephrata. And tune in next week. And remember, it's about net, not gross.